So, David, we're in our new podcast studio.
Yeah, it looks good actually. I was a bit worried about it at first. I thought it felt like an interrogation room. I felt like I was going to walk in and a police officer will walk
There's
in
a
the door
really good
behind me.
series called Criminal on Netflix. Have you seen it? Where it's just a series of interrogations.
I've seen, I think it was a Spanish one where it literally is all filmed in an interrogation room, but you see the staff behind the glass. They all talk and it's like what they're doing, but all the filming practically is done in that
All the
interrogation room.
staff are behind the glass now.
Yeah, that's it. Watching through that
So,
two-sided
where were
curtain.
you on the 30th of November 2023 between the hours of 11 and 2 in the morning?
Do you know, I feel like I'm one of those that I definitely get pressured into admitting something that I didn't do. When you're in that environment, you're just like, I did it.
So, if I kind of locked you in a room for 36 hours, you'd eventually confess to murder.
I'd go to HR first. I'd tell her what you did. But no, I do. It's a big thing, that isn't it? I think we can be coerced quite easily when you're in an environment, high pressure environment like that, where you're just itching to get out of it, or you feel like the walls are closing in on you. And yeah, it is a very strange thing that someone could admit to murder without doing it just because of a circumstance like that.
So, not quite murder, but I thought we would talk about today some of the common kind of things we see when somebody's trying to build their business. What are some of the things that on the inside we know are like stupid mistakes that they're making, that they're not really thinking things through? And I thought we could just spout some of them off that are common that we see a lot.
So this isn't a criminal podcast, that.
No,
Okay,
no
right.
crimes.
Okay. So some of the things that a business owner typically what goes through challenges or
No, well, I was thinking like, because we obviously we do events like every week somewhere,
yeah.
so we're seeing the same things come up over and over and over again. And there's some things that keep people stuck, whether that be the way they do things, the way they think about things. And I thought we could just kind of do like a reveal all of what do we think when somebody approaches us and it's like, you're going to struggle until you fix this issue.
So I don't know if this answers the question perfectly, but in a sense where what blew me away, especially in the last few years, is how much of running a business is a mindset shift or an issue. And a lot of people just aren't not necessarily built for it, but they don't realize that your mindset can play a big part in achieving a certain result. Like we just assume hard work will get us an outcome. Like you just do something enough, you get an outcome. But actually, you almost have to be resilient. You have to be able to get up all the time, no matter when you're hitting bad places. You have to consistently know that you're going to fail. Things are going to be hard, but actually, you just got to keep pushing and actually working, not just working hard, but being resilient to it. And I think that a lot of business owners, they assume if something's not working quite quickly, meaning a path they chose to take isn't being fruitful quite early, then actually they've taken the wrong path. But very well as a business owner, a lot of the time, and you see these photos and things of people knocking on doors or digging for diamonds, and you see you're just this far away, and then you give up. I think that happens all the time with business owners where you go, this isn't working for me. Let's try something new, because they're expecting something to just pay off all the time without having to kind of go through that big change of actually, this isn't as easy as we thought, but we still got to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, how many times it's a good one that, because how many times have we done something and it's not worked first time, second time, third time, and we just keep bashing at it until we crack it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, because we know there's no secret strategy. There's no, like, you discover a gem and everything comes together like a magical, what do they call them? The beans, magic beans or whatever.
Yeah.
But yet, all the time we see people looking for them.
It's
And
like
when they don't find them, they have to find more magic beans.
Yeah. It's like the lottery ticket. We're all sitting there going, we want to win the lottery. We all want to win the lottery. Absolutely. It would be a great thing to do, because what it does is it stops us having to chase anything, right? It just, we buy a ticket, we win the lottery, we're rich. But the problem is in business, it doesn't work like that. We always seem to think that there's a silver bullet to everything. Actually, there's this one message that will get me clients every time I send it, or there's this one piece of content that will make me go viral every time I post it.
Yeah.
We know very well, and I've seen you go viral with millions of views on all channels one day, and then the next day you get 10% of the same traction. It's like it, and you could easily just give up there and then and go, I'm never posting content again. I don't understand it. But you've got to build a resilience to that up and down in a way.
Yeah, I can remember when like Tom came on And I was like saying to him, are you ready for the emotional trauma of being on social media all the time? And it is like horrendous that you go through. Like, I can have a post and it can do really, really well. And I can think, I'm flying high. And then I have a couple of rough days and I think, what's the point?
Mm.
But like, I reckon some people go, what's the point? I'm stopping.
Mm.
I at least go, what's the point? Miserable for a few days, but I keep going. And I do think this is you've hit the big one here. The jackpot in terms of the biggest problem is I don't think you can be successful in a business, even if it's just like a one person business, if you're constantly looking for shiny objects, miracle cures. You will constantly be buying and moving from like when you start business, I reckon there's the people who start it because they want to build like this big, huge empire thing. And then there's the people who go, I don't want to work for somebody else. And I want, to do nice work, enjoyable work, and all that kind of stuff. But inbuilt within us, let's be honest, we want clients to come to us as easy as possible. Right. So that's in my brain, that's in your brain, it's in everybody's brain. How can I get clients as easy as possible? That is the problem. Because to get the easy clients, you have to do the work. And what we think is easy clients must be easy. Like, I would hate to have to pitch people to get clients all day long, pitching people. So I want an easier route than that. Well, actually, the easy route is doing the systems and the processes. So whether you're a solopreneur or you're a huge organization, you need cogs to churn constantly to kind of bring in those leads. And I don't know whether it's because of desperation. I don't know whether it's because of, the way we think about it. People will avoid building the cogs to try and get immediate leads. And then they need immediate leads, and the cogs never get built.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. I think we don't look at building a foundation. We're always reactive to what we need, but we're never proactive to getting it long term. So we never go, how can I ensure that I'm financially stable in 5 years' time? We just think, what do I do right now to make money?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, quickly go and sell things online, or I'll go and get a second job. And it's never to build wealth long term, or even not. To me, wealth isn't just money. Actually, it's security, right?
Yeah.
Options. It's being able to survive for a few months without having to constantly push yourself. And I think in this case, a lot of the time, what we're doing is, like you said, we're reacting to a problem, never being proactive before the problem. And you see this a lot with business owners, and it's because, and this is why you get so many of these people that we don't like selling dreams, is because typically we buy what we want, not what we need. So when these people are selling us like leads tomorrow, they're appealing to that nature in us that wants an easy fix. But when you start to realize that those people selling the quick wins, or quick fixes, are the ones that are actually not fixing your problem at all. If anything, they're just they're what's the word I'm looking for? They're keeping it going, or they're just allowing you to breathe a little bit longer, potentially for a day more. But actually, what you need is someone who will teach you something long term, something that means you work hard now and don't have to work so hard later.
Do you know what? As you're talking, it's exactly the same reason people don't save money. You look at it, right? If you were in your, you started at work at say 20 or whatever, and you put £100 a month away, and you did that for 20 odd years, you'd be sat on a gold mine, like compound interest, all that kind of stuff. Even if little amounts of money, it compounds over time. People don't do that. At 20, I don't know about you, but you spend it all. You spend everything you've got because you're living in the moment. And actually, a lot of business owners, I actually had a conversation with ChatGPT about this, but a lot of business owners are in that same approach. They're behaving like they're 20-year-olds, spending everything they've got, or in this scenario, trying to just deal with immediately what's in front of them, do what's immediately in front of them, rather than do the big work, that big, but put off some of their immediate need for instant gratification, like immediate leads, to actually build a system over a few months and work that, improve it, and tweak it to the point where, you're getting a flow of leads. I had a call with Curtis, and somebody trying to sell us outsourced salespeople. And the guy was doing the classic sales patter, that they do about how outsource people and all of that stuff. And then we were talking about our business to him and how the volume of leads we get, our sales team only focus on the kind of top focus of leads, the kind of top of the tree leads.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy said, actually, we very rarely come across companies where they've got more leads than their sales team can handle, more leads than the sales team can follow up. Very rare is that. And he said, how do you do it? And I didn't want to tell him. But fundamentally, it comes down to we do the same things over and over and over again and found what works. Some things work long term, some things work short term. But that's what we've done.
Yeah.
For like years. And
Yeah.
I find it kind of infuriating and fascinating that people won't do it. A lot of people just won't do that.
Do you know what's funny though? Is I feel like we're very good at finding the hard way to do things. And instead of always looking for an easy way to get a result, we love testing ourselves, I feel. And at some point you get to that. When you're a company like ours where your bread and butter is lead generation, clients, winning stuff, and all of that sort of thing, I feel like at some point you just start to push yourself. What can we do? Like, what other methods can we try? Whereas a business owner, without that background of truly understanding the value of generating leads and winning clients sustainably, is they're always chasing the easy fix. And what happens is you chase the easy fix for 3 months, you try loads of strategies that don't really work. And then instead of spending 3 months building something that will work for them, meaning they grow their email list, they build a nurturing strategy, they can start to then convert that list. They've spent 3 months generating ad hoc opportunities and wasted 3 months. That's how people, we're so bad for this. It's like you said with the saving thing, instead of putting £100 away for 6 months to make £600, I would sit there and go, how can I make £600 today?
Yeah.
And then in 6 months' time, sit there without £600, wondering how I could have made it. We're very good at that. And it works across the board, not just saving money, not just getting leads or clients.
Yeah. To use your analogy, though, it's like, how can I make £600 today? Oh, I didn't make it this month. Then next month, how can I make £600 today? Instead of going, if I just do 100, 100, 100. And I just don't like, it baffles me that people can operate that way, that you want to go through this. Getting leads is not, it's not the funnest thing. Yeah. The sale, getting a client to say yes, that's the fun bit. The getting the leads bit is not necessarily the most fun bit. So I often wonder, why would people want to make it more difficult for them? I think trying to get leads instantly is harder than building a system. It's frustrating. It feels pressured. Why would you do that? Yet people do it all the time.
Yeah, one thing I will say is lead generation always feels like it's an activity, right? It's you post this type of content, or you send this message, or you do this type of activity. But as you know very well, lead generation isn't about necessarily the activity, but about what you say, right? As long as what you say appeals to the right people and you put it there for them to see, you can generate leads. But actually people obsess with the strategy, but they don't even know what they're selling. Right. So they're going, okay, I know I need to do a LinkedIn poll today, or I know I need to do a webinar, but that webinar becomes coffee afternoon with Dave. No one sees value in attending. They just assume that the product itself or the webinar is enough to generate leads.
No, I had a better one than that. Somebody came to me and said, I said, so why would somebody want to work with you? And they said, well, it depends what they need. And I'm like, how are you supposed to market?
Exactly.
How are you supposed to market if you won't define what you're selling? How are you supposed to get leads for something if you won't actually make up your mind?
Yeah.
And I reckon that's the biggest one. People like, and we've had this, right? We've had this about one of our events, right? Do we sell this event to one audience, or do we sell it to two? And what happens when we get there and we're trying to sell the same thing to two different audience? What do we go through in terms of copy, email, marketing, everything?
Yeah, it's a disaster when you've got different motivations, different reasons for buying, and you're trying to appeal to all of them. Is not only do you dilute your message, but actually you end up risking appealing to no one because you're trying to find a middle ground. Instead of really diving into one specifically, you're trying to find that middle ground to try to encapsulate all of your audiences. The problem I see is there's some things you can get away with that. Don't get me wrong. There is a crossover sometimes. Some audiences will have a similar problem. They both want to save time long term. They both need to make more money, for example. So you can go, okay, well, actually, we can kind of appeal to it. But it's when I've got people that say, Dave, I'm selling this product for this company, this product for this company. What do I do? And it feels like I have to be brutal and turn around and say, pick one. Because you almost do, right? If you're
Yeah.
trying to build an audience, how can you build two different audiences, share two different messages, have two different tactics, but one presence? You can't do that.
It's like split personality syndrome,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. What I'm going to do, I'm going to be Tim today and Johnny tomorrow, and it's constant. Like you're torn,
Mm.
and it's true, you are torn. But we still seem to think that if we appeal to both, we'll win more.
Yeah. And I think this is the issue we have. And the reason people sell their product to everyone is because then they think what it allows them to do is to target everyone. But by trying to target everyone, you end up targeting no one.
What the
Right?
hell do I say?
Absolutely.
How do I write a message to everybody?
Yeah. How do you communicate to everyone's problem in
Yeah.
one go? And I think the issue a lot of the time with selling that bespoke product is no one understands how you can actually help them in detail. So they just assume that you're someone giving expertise. They will have to make assumptions over what you do. And when
Yeah.
someone makes assumptions, it can lead to a lot of time wasted on calls with the wrong people because you start to realize they're not the sorts of people that you can actually help. So it's a lot of time wasted. There's just a lot of negatives around it.
Well, I reckon the more generalized you are, so the more kind of you're trying to appeal to multiple people or trying to solve multiple problems or have multiple services or whatever, the more generalized you become, the more buyer awareness, the more you have to educate your audience.
I agree.
Because there's two ways, right? There's two ways I can sell. I can help you get clients on LinkedIn, and I can help you do it in a system that makes it under 3 hours a week. People who are overwhelmed with LinkedIn and are not getting clients, they see, oh, actually, I've got that works.
Yeah.
But if I can say I can get you clients on social media, well, that might resonate with lots and lots more people more widely, but they have to trust me more because my message is more generic.
Yeah.
I think trust, the more focused your message, the more people see it as relevant to them and the more they're inclined to dig and find out more. The more broad it is, the more they have to trust the person with the message.
Yeah.
I don't see how you can, with attention spans being so bad, that you can appeal to lots of different people and effectively sell without making it harder for yourself.
Yeah, and look, we always talk about the stat. It takes around 7 or 8 times someone seeing your offer before they resonate with it truly. And actually, if you add another audience in, that probably goes to 14, right? It
Yeah.
doubles and compounds. So if you're trying to appeal to 3 audiences, you need to get someone to resonate triple the amount of times as normal. So you're right. You have to create way more content. You have to be way more present. You have to do way more outbound engagement. And as a business owner, you're thinking that earns you more money, but what it costs you is so much more time and effort.
Yeah.
So that costs you money. So you end up spending money to get money. And I think one of the big things as well around business owners and committing to that kind of selling everything to everyone is it makes your product so much worse. So let's say for us, we know we sell one program, right? We have our accelerator program and we're constantly trying to improve it because we want to deliver the best service. If we were selling multiple variations of that to multiple different people, it'd be very hard to learn what works, how to upgrade it, how to make it better. And whereas what they're doing is they're going, because they're spinning so many plates trying to do so many different services, they don't know who they're doing different things for different people and actually overwhelming themselves even more. Whereas if you have one service, you can focus on just that service, repeating it, making it better, improving it, and delivering ultimately.
See, on that note, I have seen people turn down buying something because it's too big.
Yeah.
So like, you know, this is a few years ago when we said we could do this whole big service. We made that mistake and we slimmed it all down. And I've lost opportunities because somebody saw something in that service that they did not need.
Yeah. Great point.
So sometimes we think including more stuff makes it more valuable. It can also be more overwhelming. And then the conversation becomes, do I pay $3,000 to get when I only want one of those things or two of those things? And there's 10 in there that I don't need. Maybe I should look for the thing that just has those two things in.
Yeah, that's a great point. And actually, I think you may have taught me this a while ago, is that on a sales call, and I mean, I'm not a salesperson, but I've sold things because what I understood is you're not selling all the products, the features, all the different things. You're not trying to make your product as enticing as possible from a scale of how many things are involved, because actually, you're right, you overwhelm people. All you need to know is why they would buy that program specifically, and only focus on that one deliverable. If I just said, look, the main reason you want to come is because you want to build your brand, well, actually, we'll help you build a personal brand via these modules. Don't even talk about anything else. Don't tell them how long it is. Unless they ask, don't dive into all the specifics. And actually, they leave going, this will solve my problem. Instead, like you said, you can overwhelm them thinking, well, to build a personal brand, you need to create content. You need to build this. You need to do that. And actually, you need a full strategy that allows. And all of a sudden, they go, I just want to build my personal brand.
Yeah.
I'm going to find a course. So you're from a sales point of view, that's an education piece that's huge, right? It's understanding how to. The first part is identifying why someone will buy your specific product and only talking into that problem. Yeah.
So let's think about the other one. Self-discipline. All right. I hate to say this, but I've seen it so many times that like a lot of business owners, a lot of people who are trying to get clients online, they have really bad self-discipline. Like they can't regulate their own emotions. They can't regulate their feelings. They have like I don't know whether they should even be in business, some of them, because you look at what they're doing and they're going, yeah, I want a system. I want to build this business. And then you look at their behavior and you look at what they're doing and you go, why are you not following a process? Why are you getting distracted by other people? And I don't know why this is. Maybe it's just a societal thing and it's not just business owners, but why do we have all of these tools and yet we have shocking self-discipline?
Yeah.
Like the ability to go, do you know what? I'm just going to do what needs to be done. And I get this all the time. I say, if you could just do specific tasks in 20 minutes each day on LinkedIn, you would get clients. And then I'll catch up with some people and I look through their activity and go, why did you not do your tasks? Oh, well, I had this really good post idea. And we default to the things we want to do, but actually to be successful, and I'm not talking about, becoming a billionaire here. I'm talking about just to have a successful small business where you can work and choose the clients you want. If you want the freedom of that, you have to get the self-discipline in other places. And most people will not do that. It's like they're out of control with themselves.
Yeah, it's a really important point. And I think actually you have to earn the right to have that freedom, don't you? You have to say, I have to earn that right by doing what's necessary. Yeah. And actually some of those things are uncomfortable, but that you chose to run a business. So you knew things were going to get uncomfortable. You couldn't just expect it to be like dreamland, right? You start a business, people come to you, you're buying and you're making loads of money. Unfortunately, there's some uncomfortable things you have to go through.
I think social media has played a part in that though, because, even I scroll social media and I see these 22-year-old kids walking around in Dubai presenting a life and it's half rented and, we'll see it all when we get there in a couple of weeks. But it's like, I think that social media presence makes people think that if it's good, it must be easy.
Yeah.
But if you want the good stuff, you have to have self-discipline. If you want freedom and income that comes in and leads that come in more predictably, you have to have the self-discipline to do some very simple but repetitive stuff over and over again. And most people are not willing to do that. And that's why this freedom, this financial control of their lives, they're not having the yo-yo never happens for them because they are not prepared to do the, you know, I bet you any money if I did this, right, and said, okay, uh, for 30 days, you had to go and empty 10 bins across Plymouth. And at the end of 30 days, I would give you 50 grand, right? If I asked a ton of people to do that and they had to do it at 4 a.m, right? If they had a cast iron guarantee, you know, it was signed by King Charles, there was a royal stamp on it, they would do it every single day. But if it was like a bit more loose, a bit less guaranteed, and there was a 50-50 chance, right? Let's just say a 50-50 chance that at the end of that, you would get 50,000 in cash. Most people wouldn't do it. And it's like, okay, so what we're basically saying is the mindset behind this is if I am guaranteed success, I will do the work.
Yeah.
It's like, where does that work?
Yeah. Where in life do we ever get those sorts of guarantees?
Elon Musk, I know he's toxic now, but Elon Musk had no guarantees. Literally, he ran out of money. He had his I know it sounds horrible, last 30 million. His last 30 million.
Oh, lucky for him.
But he needed about 50, 60 million to keep both of his companies afloat. He had his last 30 million. That's all he had. And then he was done. And he decided he didn't want to let either fall. So he took the risk and put 15 million in each. And both Tesla and SpaceX survived. Right? There was no guarantee for him there. There was no guarantee for Jeff Bezos that basically it would all work out okay. Yet, so many business owners are walking around with a mentality of, if I know it works, I'll do it.
And you see this even YouTubers, right? We look at the like streamers, YouTubers. You posted about this recently. How what percentage of it was of people wanted to be a streamer now?
Oh, so the top in the US and UK, the top answer for kids under 12 was they wanted to be a YouTuber.
Yeah, and actually, we look at that and we go, they want that because it feels like you can do something easy and enjoy what you do. But if you look at the average YouTubers, the ones that are famous now, making a lot of money, have been around for a long time, on average, I read a stat that they had to make 300 long form videos for YouTube before they were ever able to monetize, before they really got to a point where they could build an audience. 300 videos that they edited themselves, filmed themselves, sat there and had to do with no reward to be able to get to where they are now. So even we can look at a YouTube streamer and go, they've chosen an easy way out. It's not much graft. They get to enjoy what they do. But they had to get 300 unwatched videos, all of that graft to be able to finally build a following on average.
And you know what? My own YouTube journey plays that out because I've made nearly 1,000 videos, nearly 1,000 videos. And if I look at what I've done over the years with my YouTube, I've got disillusioned because it didn't work, stopped, then had another go, then had another go, and then give up because it didn't work. And if I look at it, like the way I'm doing my YouTube right now, I'm actually looking at the details of what happened with each video and how do I do it better. And 2025 will be my best year on YouTube, my best year on that channel, even though like I've probably wasted 1,000 videos not taking it seriously, waiting for that guarantee of success.
You look at any of them. We looked at Alex Hormozy fairly recently, and we went right the way back to see his original videos. They don't look like his videos now. You've got to earn the ability to do that sort of production value and be able to maintain a following, right?
I mean, obviously, when he started, the video quality wasn't as good.
Yeah.
But he was just recording himself at his desk, right? And he started doing that, and then they got better. Gary Vee did the same.
Yeah.
And over time, you grow into better quality. I'm convinced of that now, that you grow into better quality.
Because you learn in what worked before, like you
Yeah.
now, you're checking, and we're all doing this. We're checking our current posts. We're learning what messaging, what format worked the best for our audience, and then we repeat it. Right? We can't learn unless we do. Yeah, a business owner typically is looking at a strategy and going, "What's going to work for me now?
Yeah.
Not what can I learn from. I may get a few results that keep me going, and then I try something new, and I can learn and adapt from it." We're unwilling to learn, and like you said, we don't have the discipline to do the things we're uncomfortable with. So we always gravitate to what we're in control of, and then moan when it doesn't work. How many times have people, and maybe someone listening to this will say the same, that we make excuses as to why things don't work all the time. But sometimes, but we'll never blame ourselves, right? We never say, oh, it's because we didn't do enough. We didn't work hard enough. We didn't stay disciplined. We didn't take the bins out every day. I didn't make my bed in the morning. It's always about, well, that strategy wasn't right for me. Yeah. And actually, sometimes we have to take a look at ourselves.
Maybe you're not right for the strategy.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing. Is like, you know, coming back to what you've said about the beginning of the mindset, and I've been trying to practice. I'll tell you the story. Right, there's a trend on TikTok where it's like you type the word book top of TikTok, and it apparently predicts a book that you should be. And I want to find the book that it said was, and I'll explain this because there is a note. I don't believe in these kind of mystical things where social media predicts something.
But it's curiosity gets you kind of, so you
Right.
just search the word book.
Yeah. So you search the word book,
Yeah.
right? And apparently the top thing that comes up is the book that summarizes your life. What is it?
So there's
The top
two.
one.
There's two. And it's the Malevolent Seven, and you deserve this shit.
So mine was, right, don't believe everything you think. So I was like, okay, ChatGPT, tell me the summary of the book, right? So the first chapter is your thoughts aren't facts, right? So that's really good for me because I'm thinking, okay, yeah, what am I thinking doesn't necessarily mean it's true. And then, and then the second part is that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. In other words, the more you resist what's happening, the worse it feels. So in other words, this is what's happening. This is where we're going. This is the reality. Let's just get on with it. And then the big one is you are not your thoughts. In other words, what I'm saying, my inner monologue to me doesn't necessarily mean it's me.
Yeah.
And then the big reveal for me was trying to fix your thoughts just keeps you stuck. You just have to recognize I'm thinking this. Is it objective? I don't have to be controlled by this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But it comes down to the point of what I'm trying to do is stop myself from just instinctively reacting from instant thought, instant feeling, and go, what is going on here in this moment? We had one earlier, and I just stopped and went, I'm just going to sit here and think without opening my mouth, just think. And that has been really powerful for me in that, you know, we're very emotive. Businesses, especially when it's your own business, it's your baby. You want to just dive in. You want to just gut. And don't get me wrong, my gut has proved very, very faithful in terms of helping me make good decisions, but it's not always right. And the next level of growth for me and probably most business owners is, okay, I've got so far here on gut, but I can't build a business on my gut instinct.
Yeah.
If I want certain goals, it has to be about really deep thinking about what do I really want and how am I going to get there and then do it. And I think to your point about the way people approach things and like, then they're just that point. Maybe you're not right for the strategy. If you want freedom, a more controlled business, more predictable revenue, I think I said this in Growth Times as well. You have to behave like the person and operate like the person who has the freedom, who has the systems, not the person who's desperate for the system or is struggling or overwhelmed. You have to operate like the person the business owner you want to be, not the business owner you are right now.
Yeah.
Can't have predictability by being erratic.
Yeah. And we actually, I don't know if you said this, but going through that journey yourself or us as a business is going, well, actually, in 5 years' time, we want to be a this many millions business. So I need to stop thinking like a small business and actually start reacting and building systems and processes and like you said, predictability to become a big business.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're like you said, you're always playing reactive marketing, never proactive
Yeah.
marketing. You're never building systems. You're just trying to triage problems. And a business owner will do that at the beginning because you'll have up and down months. But you're right, you have to put yourself in a position where you go, if I want to go from 0 to a £5 million business, I need to put myself in a position where I am building what is necessary to be able to build that size business. Not just go, I'm just gonna try and live in the moment and get there as quick and hope I'll get there. Right? Play that game.
It's like, I don't know whether this is politically correct, but you build a mud hut and then go, why don't we try and make this into a skyscraper?
Yeah,
It's
there's
like,
no money, and it's like you just
no, yeah, but just even like, let's put another floor on this mud hut. I wonder if we could put 100 floors on this mud hut. It's just not going to work.
no.
But yeah, I think that is, coming back to what you said, this mindset piece, I think is the big deal here. And this is sticking with me at the moment. So if anybody's watching my content and thinks, oh God, Dean's a stuck record, is I have to, and anybody listening, if there is something I want, I have to model the behaviors, the thought processes, the all of that stuff. I have to model that person now because I'm not going to magically transform when I get there.
No. It's, you're not gonna evolve overnight, right? You're not gonna come out of you go into a cocoon and in the morning come out a different person. But I think that setting yourself up to get there and understanding the route that to get there so that you can build a path. And I think this is what a lot of business owners need. And it's not actually that they need a silver bullet for an individual tactic, it's they need a long-term path to get there. And if they can't visualize it step by step, here's what my milestones will be this year to next year to next year. And this is something we've been very good at creating recently, is understanding in 6 months' time, where do we want this to be? And actually, what do we need to get to 6 months? Then we'll get to the year, then we'll get to 5 years, and we kind of build it up. Whereas they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves to maybe financially they've done this to themselves, but I feel like actually one of the biggest problems that a business owner is facing as well, that we're seeing, and maybe we need to we're bolting this into our training a bit more, that confidence. Whether it's the way the society is now, and socially it's so much harder for us nowadays because of our lifestyles. We don't communicate with people face to face as much. It's harder when they talk to a client because they're not used to that contact. But actually we've lost confidence in our own ability to do stuff. The amount of times I have to reassure people, almost like I'm there. I'll take a coach, for example, and I'm reassuring a coach that they can do this. You can generate your own clients. You can win your own leads. And I have to, it's not just teaching them a strategy, but it's giving them confidence and reassuring them, not like a therapist, but almost giving them
They
that.
don't trust themselves.
No, and they don't trust the process ever, right? They don't trust what anyone's giving them. So that's why they believe in the sensational language, because they feel like if they're guaranteeing it and that sort of hype behind it, then it must be true. Then they get burnt and then they lose even more confidence. And it's this vicious cycle that they end up in to try and find something that'll work for them.
Yeah, I think learning to trust yourself, not your emotions, because your emotions can lie. Your emotions can be deceptive, but learning to trust yourself that you're going to make a decision. And we've done this, right? How many times have we made a decision to push ahead with something, and because we've been committed to something, it work. But there's also been times where we've not really been committed to something, and kind of every time we're kind of half in, half out, it kind of collapses.
Yeah, and we lose time that way. And look, this you've got to realize, you've got to not just be confident that you can make that decision, but also just allow yourself to mess up too, right? You can't. Yes, you'll make a decision on gut or on instinct, and sometimes it will go well, and sometimes it won't. And I see this quote; it's very common now. You either win or you learn, right? You either win from it, meaning you're successful in that moment, or you learn from it and you'll win next time. And there's so many times, like you said, I actually love the way society's gone in a way, and I hate it at the same time. Won't get into too many details, but I love the fact that actually we're able to be more, or show more humility now, in a sense where we're able to talk about our failures, because people can actually realize we're all human. We are all learning. Not everyone is completely successful all the time. And actually, we don't buy from people who have always been successful anymore. We buy more from the people who have experiences that we can learn from ourselves. Let's say, for example, if you're in lead generation and you said to me, I failed a lot of the times. I tried to do tactics and they didn't work. But what I did find after that was a tactic that really worked for a business like this. I'd be like, oh, okay, well, if you've tried it, failed, and actually you realize this worked, that should do the same for me. I start to build more confidence in it. 10 years ago, we would never be seen dead talking about our failures online.
Oh, lead generation expert talking about failure that you buy from them.
No, you'd never get business. And actually, you'd blacklist yourself.
That is kind of like the Amazon 100% 5-star review problem.
You don't trust it anymore.
Whenever we go to or whenever I go to Amazon, at least, I look at the reviews, and I look at the worst reviews.
Yeah.
I rarely look at the good reviews. I look at the worst reviews to see what's the worst case scenario here.
Yeah.
And I think I distrust movies, products where there's no negative reviews, there's no negative feedback. And I think that comes from the fact that we've all been burnt somewhere, that we now look for where's the bad bit.
Yeah. And actually, you look at Trustpilot, it's almost like we've had this thing where it's like we're getting too many good reviews here that we don't want to be a 5-star rating, because actually it's better to be a 4.8 or a 4.9 because people feel like that's more authentic. It's crazy.
So I'll leave you with this. We'll wrap up in a sec, but there's one really bad tactic that's happening on the internet right now, which I find it's kind of fascinating at the same time. So all of these big gurus who are saying you can make $1 million in 90 days and all this bullshit, one of the things they're doing with SEO and search terms is basically dominating the keyword, like Alex Hormozi scam.
Oh.
And they're creating web pages with their own name, scam, and then or asking bloggers to write, is it a scam? And basically the negative searches are mild reviews where it's like there's a bit of critique, but it's actually quite soft. And they're literally paying bloggers to write like semi-positive, kind of neutral reviews based on people searching for, is it legit? Is it a scam? Should you buy into this crypto and all this kind of stuff? Doing the negative keywords to basically go, people want to find something bad.
Yeah.
So we'll make something that's kind of a little bit bad.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing. It's not somebody on Reddit saying total scam, I lost $10,000. It's actually like, there's a few bits of the course that are a bit clunky, but these are, I think, the good takeaways from it. Kind of like that. There's a whole industry born from that.
Yeah, it didn't really help me. The course was a little bit structured a little bit poorly, and there were some bits that I thought were a bit generic, but I did get 2 clients from it. And you're like, all of a sudden someone's like, 2 clients? It just made, I get that I didn't know that was a thing, but that is insane, the detail or like the tactics people are able to go to try to manipulate the audience. Yeah. And that's just one of thousands of different tactics out there.
We could talk about the fact that how do you know what's true anymore, but that's probably for another episode.
And actually, AI is going to get us to a point where we don't trust anyone or anything anymore.
No. I mean, even video calls, you can't trust video calls anymore. You can't trust anything really now, even audio.
Yeah.
Did you see the news stories about Canada declaring war on the US? All of that came out, and it was all AI generated coverage of, CNN and Fox News.
Yeah, I said the money's going to be in the people who can differentiate, isn't it? Now the government's going to have to pay people big amounts of money to be able to pull apart what is AI and what's not, or what's real and what's not.
Yeah, what happens when the viral clips go around of China threatening to nuke the US,
and that you retaliate on hearsay, don't you?
Yeah.
Like the news story. I mean, that's all the news is one journalist telling someone else, and then they tell someone else. A lot of the time, it just is fed. It's Chinese whispers, and at some point, someone's going to react to a Chinese whisper, and it's going to cause chaos. Anyway, I think that's something that we can definitely save for the next episode.
Another episode. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you on the next episode. If you've enjoyed this episode, go let me and Dave know. We're on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram.